Hello, hello, fearless listeners. Are you ready for another episode of Let Fear Bounce? It's the podcast that's all about conquering challenges and facing our fears. I'm your host, Kim Langling, and each week we'll dive into inspiring stories, expert insights, and practical tips to help you turn your fear into your greatest ally. So sit back, relax, grab that cup of coffee, and let's discover how to make fear our bouncing board towards a life filled with endless possibilities right here on Let Fear Bounce. Have you asked yourself who's going to take care of your pet should something happen to you? Well, I've got an answer for you. The Do-It-Yourself Pet Estate Will Kit that gives you peace of mind that your family pet will be cared for when you are no longer physically able to care for them, with easy step-by-step instructions that guide you through the task of completing forms necessary to add your furry loved one to your existing will. Visit KimLanglingAuthor.com to find out more. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Let Fear Bounce. This is Kim Langling, your host, and I am so excited to have you listening in today to myself and my special guest today, KT Anglehart. She is an award-winning author from Montreal with a multilingual prowess in English, French, Italian, and Spanglish. She is a dedicated academic. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism, a graduate certificate in scriptwriting, and a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing. Now, she is inspired by the wizarding world, the land of Narnia, and parallel planes, and she penned The Wise One, inviting readers to connect with nature and its ever-present magic. Okay, now those are the words that grab my attention. Nature and its ever-present magic. Because I am all about being out in the magical realm where I live, because I am the queen of it, of course. But anyway, her exploration of the landscapes and folklore of Ireland and Scotland greatly influenced her debut young adult urban fantasy, marking the inception of the Scottish Scroll series. Dun, dun, dun. How exciting. Welcome to Let Fear Bounce, Katrina. I have been so looking forward to this conversation.
Oh, I have too. Thank you. Wow, you read very well. Like you made that all sound so much better.
It's all about the inflection, dear heart. Your tone inflection. Well, welcome to Let Fear Bounce. As I said, I was excited about getting ready to talk to you. We talked off mic prior to hitting that record button. And I had told her, everybody out there listening, I had told Katrina, I said, okay, that one line with nature and its ever-present magic just grabbed a hold of my soul and said, oh my goodness, she just might be a soul sister.
I think so too.
All right. So first off, I want to dive right into your books because you've got several books out there. Also, you've got another one coming in November, and we're going to get to all of that. But how did this whole thing start? You're inspired by folklore of Ireland and Scotland, which I've read as long as I can remember, and I'm enthralled by it, just absolutely enthralled by it. And believe, there is all kinds of energies and stuff,
yes,
that have stuck around for whatever reason, and Ireland just seems to be one of those places like I want to go there and immerse myself into the folklore and the pubs and all of that. And one of these days, that's on my bucket list. One of these days I will. But share how a lot of that became such a passion for you. And then you said, you know what, by golly, I got to write some books.
Well, you said that very well. And I'm glad you described it perfectly. Like there is a hanging energy there that's like, it pulls you in such a weird and mystical way. So how did it start? If I really think back, I would say it's my grade 7 English teacher. He was an Irish Canadian, but very, very Irish still. Like he had it in him. He had that like the twist to his accent, and he had such great stories from Ireland. And I think since grade 7, I was interested in Ireland, like the folklore, the landscape, the way he spoke made me want to meet more Irish people. And like, there's such lovely people. I did go and I was not only did the environment completely enthrall me, the people they're just beautiful people. Like, I don't know. Can I say that? Can I generalize like that? I'd like to, because I just loved everyone I met
You can say
there.
whatever you want, dear heart.
So yeah, I knew I always wanted to go from a young age. I'm like, I got to go to Ireland. I was interested in learning more about it, learning more about the folklore. I was always also really into magic. Like, I was, watching Charm from a young age, and like in my room, like pretending I could do spells and stuff like that. I was like very, very into the idea that there was magic all around us. And then I started reading more about just nature magic. So more about like Scott Cunningham style, like very much like whatever you find out there, there's an energy. And I think it's as simple as that. So kind of tying that in with my trip to Ireland. So I went to Ireland and Scotland for my honeymoon, and just learning about the folklore and the stories, and like tying it in with stuff I've read about the magic we find in nature. It just kind of like the wheels in my head, are turning. And I had a story. It was sort of, I think that's what it was. And my husband was encouraging too. He said, write what you love. You love learning about magic and witches and magic that we can access through nature. And this is someone who is completely atheist. But he loved that I wasn't. And it just, yeah, he's like, just write about what you love. And I did.
That is so awesome. And I like how that journey came about for you. And it's kind of fun to look back and see, with hindsight now, you've got years behind you and you can look back and go, oh, now I see,
Yes.
Now, when you were in Ireland and Scotland, and how awesome that was your honeymoon trip,
I know.
how awesome is that? But
Yeah.
I was actually in Ireland once, and it's simply because I was coming home from Germany, and one of our engines, we lost an engine on the plane, and we had to turn around and take an emergency landing in Shannon, Ireland, because that was the closest place. We were stranded there for a day and a half, and they got us in this great hotel out in this just beautiful hilly rolling hills. And then way off in the distance, you could see like the remnants of a castle. But we were stuck in our hotel. We couldn't go or do anything. We had to stay there waiting on them to fix the plane. So I can actually say I've been to Ireland, but I didn't get to experience it the way I wanted to.
You soaked up some of those energies, though.
That's right. That is right, by golly. So when you were there, and you said that inspired some of the writing and your books that were to come, what is it most about that atmosphere that you felt or saw or experienced? And you had said that, you had a story, and it was just kind of, twirling around in your head. But was there anything specific that came, like, were you on a walk and you smelled something or heard something, or were you visiting a castle or something that just sparked you and you went, oh, and then it started?
Oof. A specific moment, that's hard to say, because the story was already a concept before I went.
Oh,
So
okay. It was already percolating.
It was outlined very, very roughly, because I'm a bit of like I kind of don't fully outline something. When I get in there, things change. But I visited many, many places in Ireland and Scotland, and those are the places that I depicted in my books. So in that sense, everywhere I went was like, oh, well, this is a stop that we're making, and oh, the story behind this area could be connected to, like, it just connected so many dots. It was like a jigsaw puzzle map.
Right. No, I know. I can picture exactly what you're talking about.
So thank you, because I'm not sure.
I can picture exactly what you're talking about. So all of the story that you had, that was, kind of you already had it partially outlined and stuff, and taking that trip just kind of solidified more of it. What is that story? What is that book? And has it been published?
Yeah, so I have, my first book is The Wise One. It is the first of the Scottish Scroll series. The second book is coming out this November. So the first book is only in Ireland. So it's about a 17-year-old named McKenna, who's from a town outside of Boston, like very small town. She has two dads, takes place in the 90s, so that's not something that is common or very well accepted. And she always felt a weird outcast, doesn't fit in, not only because of her upbringing in this very small-minded kind of time, but just because of herself not feeling like she belonged and like she was like others, like other people. So she discovers on the night of her 17th birthday, she has a nightmare of being burned at the stake. And she goes from there. She discovers she has these kind of latent abilities, and she finds out that she indeed has a kind of mystical birth mother. And she goes out to find her. And the journey is that in the first book, she goes out to Ireland. She in search of her birth mother, in search of answers. She meets people along the way, a dashing young Irish man. Although it's not like a big love. Don't expect it's not a steamy book, but there's a little something there. And a very best friend who is adorable and lovable and many people's favorite character.
How fun. How fun. Okay, now I have to get a copy of the book. I didn't get a chance to get a copy and read it before I had you on, but I will definitely be doing that. Have you ever read anything by Trisha O'Malley?
Oh, that sounds very familiar.
She has a whole lot of different series, all kind of along the same vein.
Okay.
I've read every single one of her books. That's why as you're talking, I'm going, oh, she sounds like a Trisha.
Oh, I gotta look into it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. She actually lives in Scotland, I believe. Or no, she lives in some Caribbean island, but her husband is from Scotland.
Oh.
And so a lot of her stuff takes place there. All the mystical stuff.
Yeah, because
it's very cool. Yeah, definitely have to check her out. Well, hey, shout out to Trisha O'Malley if you ever listen to my podcast.
I'm sure I've read from her. It's very possible. I dove into so many, but mostly nonfiction because I did a lot of research. So
sure. Yeah. And I bet that was fun. How was that? How do you research something for the books that you write? I know a lot of folks, for me, when I think research, but truly that's how I feel. But if it's something that I'm like super excited about, I'll be like, you know what? I'm actually physically going to go to the library and check out a whole bunch of books and bring them all home by the armloads and be super excited about it, to have them all spread over my dining room table with sticky notes.
There's this Hermione vibe that happens. Yeah. When I dive into research, it's like, I want to nerd out completely. So I do. Yeah. I look into books. I do like physical books, and I have stickies, colorful stickies that indicate a different category for the things that I'm searching for. I'm insane. And
well, I'm right there with you because I do the same thing.
So I have a lot of history and folklore books because I do combine the both. And because it takes place in the 90s, there's a lot of internet forum stuff I researched. Like I found a forum that was talking about some shops, like they were reminiscing about the shops in the 90s of a town, Kilkenny, which is featured in my book. And one of them was talking about a funny storefront everyone found so hilarious. It was like a bunch of stuffed animals, had nothing to do with the merchandise, something like that. And I thought it was so quirky and cute. And because it's true, I included it. So it's like a lot of that kind of research as well. Try to include nuggets of actual little details from the era and from the place. So
in part of your research, do you research, like, I'm assuming the folklore and the legends? And I don't know, did you talk to actual people from those areas about, their experiences or, how they grew up, what they heard as they grew up?
Absolutely. I had a lot of tour guides, and I actually kept in touch with a couple because I had follow-up questions, and they're locals. So a lot of the stories I heard, they're slightly different than the ones you'll find online, and it's because I heard them from a local. So there's that. It was important to me to speak with them. So I feel really lucky. Like I was there while I was researching and writing at the same time and gathering information and mulling, and so it's just like a great time to be there. And I actually went back to Scotland. Was that last year? I think 2022. I was back in Scotland. And that was research for book 3. But anyway, I won't get there.
How awesome. And I agree. I would think, should I do that? I would definitely want to talk to the locals. Because you're getting a whole nother vibe from it than what you could just research online, because online you can find all kinds of stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% true.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was a dialect that that's from one of the towns that I feature, and like one of the characters is from there. Not in the first book, you'll learn more about that in the second book. But it's funny because I actually loved that there was like this dialect no one knew about from like that my tour guide was talking about, and I included it because I'm like, that's so something that maybe only people from Scotland would really know. And I just loved that idea of hey, I'm really trying to stay true to, I'm not Scottish, unfortunately, I'm not Irish either, but the fascination is there. And I mean, I wouldn't claim it as my culture, it's definitely not, but I really tried hard to research and do it justice.
How fun though. How fun. I have Scotch Irish in me. I'm Polish and Scotch Irish.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, so that's why Ireland and Scotland is on my bucket list.
Yeah, it's got to be. From the way you're speaking and the passions you have about nature, it is.
Oh, I just want to go there and sit in the woods.
You will. There's woods there. There's quite a bit of woods.
I'm going to wait for a wood sprite or a leprechaun to come and sit beside me.
You know, yes, and they will. There, it's what it is. It's the mountains. It's the mountainscape. I have a thing for mountains that I didn't know I had a thing for mountains until I was there, and the lochs. And it's just, there's so many lochs across Scotland, especially. And I learned that happened during the Ice Age, like after the Ice Age. So because it's such a hilly and crevicey kind of landscape, when all the ice melted, it filled these places, and the lochs were formed, you know? So it's just, there's so many pools everywhere, and it's just part of the mysticism.
Yes, mysticism. And what a perfect word.
I
love that word. So what's next? So you've got this 3-book series.
Second one is coming out in November. The third one I'm starting to work on.
So do you foresee the third book being the final of this series, or do you think it's going to keep going?
I wish I could tell you. You know, I want to, because it's like, it's exhausting. It's the part that people don't want to admit, maybe authors don't want to admit, it is physically, mentally taxing and draining. Mostly because you're always going back to your previous books and making sure everything is aligned, and you're not leaving any plot holes. It's so important to me to be consistent. I'm the first to call something out if something's not consistent, and I'm like, I don't want to be that person who misses, like who overlooks something. I thought there would be 3. There may be more.
You don't know, because you might have characters just start creeping in.
I am afraid there will be.
Yeah, and they're going to be whispering. They're going to be whispering to you, and you're going to be like, oh, really?
Honestly, that's what happened in the epilogue of the first. It was quite sudden, and I said, oh crap, okay, he's gonna have to be developed in the second. And then as the second one's coming, I'm hearing the whispers of the ones that will be coming into the third, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
How fun. Yeah, strap yourself in, buckle up, buttercup.
Buckle up.
Buckle up. So have you always wanted to write this type, this type of this genre?
100%. I think, like, I read Harry Potter when I was a kid, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to do something as equally amazing.
There you go. Say it with confidence.
There is a statement that won't backfire.
I joke around and stuff, because I'll say stuff, and my friends or family members will be like, is that true? And I'll be like, no, but I said it with enough confidence that made you believe it, didn't I? And so that's kind of my thing. Say it with confidence.
Oh, I love that. And you know what? Everything you do say is like said very brightly. So I can see that confidence like radiating, and the energy from everywhere just being like, hey, it's mine. This is
what's right. Happening. That's right. Darn it. Darn it. You were talking about your character development. How is it that you do that? How does it come to you?
Oh my. I don't know how to answer that. So the character development, I'm really, okay, so another thing I criticize when I read or watch anything, it's unrealistic dialogue. It's things that would happen between people that I don't think has been warranted or worked up enough, or thing. I'm very pacing. For me, number one, pacing. Very important to me. Makes or breaks something. The story could be great. The characters could be great. If the pacing is ruined, it's not good. So I try really hard to develop it in a way that seems natural between people, that something would, like if the relationship is kind of sort of blossoming, and of course it's a little faster between teenagers because they're teenagers and they're more impulsive and they respond more to their intuition and that kind of thing. So I think it's more just listening to the flow of the story. Like, does that make sense? It's like listening to yourself. It's like, oh, did that happen too fast? Does that even make sense? Would that be this quick? Would they reconcile already? Would they be fighting right now because they've been together for a month? Like, it's just.
No, I understand that. Yeah. I do. I get it. And I agree. I agree with the pacing. I've read books where you're thinking, wow, this is kind of cool, but
yeah,
if they would have just tweaked it just this much, that book, instead of being good, would have been awesome.
Yeah, and I'm sure everyone has their opinion. People could read mine, and you know what? I've gotten reviews where they say, "Oh, their friendship is a bit too quick and easy." But hey, there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? But like, whatever. Like, it's just, it has to feel right for the writer, and they have to have a reason for it if it does feel quick and easy. Or if it's feeling a bit too drawn out, maybe the writer has an intention for that.
Right.
We'll like,
right. And your books are not for everyone. Just like my books aren't for everyone. There are very specific people that are meant to read your books, and they will find your books when they are supposed to.
That is so strong a statement and lovely. And I'm still trying to understand and convince myself of that. I'm a new author. So of course, the great reviews feel amazing. And then the ones that are like, oh, I didn't quite get this, couldn't finish it. It's like, oh shit, like can I say shit on your podcast?
Well, you just did twice. So keep on going, sister.
Oh, sorry, I don't even notice. Oh, terrible. It's still kind of like, oh, what did I do wrong there? But then it's like, wait, that is not the person who's supposed to read my book.
Right. Exactly. And I tell and we write I write nonfiction. So most of my stuff is true, but that doesn't mean people are going to like it.
Exactly.
Because a lot of it might hit too close to home. I've gotten wonderful comments, and I've gotten some comments that are kind of iffy. And I sit there and I'm like, all right, Kim, thicken that skin up, because that person is just not the right person to read this story. There's someone sitting out there actually waiting to read your story.
Oh, exactly.
They're sitting out there waiting, and your book is going to land in their hands, in front of their face, exactly when it's supposed to.
Oh, that's lovely.
And so that's what I just keep telling myself, because I firmly believe that. So
I got to call you like once a week. Just to like, hey, can you give me a pep talk?
The affirmation call.
Absolutely. Hey, that's something.
I'm all for it, because by golly, I need it too some days. I definitely need it too some days. I have those days where it's like, I probably should spend at least an hour working on this one book. I've got 3 books in the works.
Oh, wow.
One's got my heart more, but that's the one I work on the least. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of strange. One is done. I just have to get it edited. So it's like, I don't know. And I'm like, Kim, just work on it for an hour. Sit down and write for an hour. But then I have those days, it's like, I have nothing. No one's talking to me. And I mean, by no one, I mean in my head.
I completely get it. And it is something we have to learn to, like, just like the discipline, the self-discipline is everything. I always tell people, so they're like, oh, how do I become a good writer? My advice literally is just like be disciplined. You have a story, just be disciplined. Don't worry if your sentence doesn't sound good. In the film industry, they say, oh, fix it in post.
Yeah, just get it out. That's why I say, my ideas always come to me when I'm outside, and I'm outside a lot. Because that's where I breathe. And that's where my ideas come to me. And so a lot of times I'll have to rush back to the house and get to my computer and start typing stuff out, or I verbally say it in my phone just because I have to get it out. And even if I don't get it typed out and into story form, I got it out, and it's hanging there just waiting for when it's supposed to come, when the light is supposed to shine on it.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I've sent myself voice notes, but I'm more of a sticky notes person. It's either like on my computer or on my phone, like just like the the little folder of random, hey, wait, this
Right.
could happen in book 3. Oh wait, genius. I have a thing called a category of notes called genius ideas. And I just put in
Mine are called brilliant thoughts.
oh, look at us. Look at us.
I have notebooks. I like physical notebooks.
Okay, yeah.
I literally have a physical notebook in every room in my house. I have one in my purse. I have one in my car. So wherever I'm at, I have these notebooks and I'll be like, oh, brilliant thought. And I write it down. And then later I'll be like, which book did I put that brilliant thought in?
Oh yeah.
Which notebook? But I'm big on notebooks and I have them in all different colors. And when I see them on sale for like a quarter, like at school time, I'll be like, give me 7,
Splurge.
Yeah, give me 7 of those. And I do. I love notebooks. I love pretty kind. I love the plain kind. But I call them my brilliant thoughts.
The pretty ones are often too pretty to write in. That's where my weakness is. It's like,
I know, I do. I have a couple like that are so pristine and they've nothing. I just pull them every once in a while and go, oh, you're so pretty. You're nice. And then I put it away. It's like a leather bound. I found a leather bound one in this bin. And it's a beautiful, beautiful blue leather bound notebook. And I got it for $5. I think it was a mistake to be in the bin that it was in.
Oh yeah, those are expensive.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I know. And I went, and so everyone, and I have not written in that one yet.
I'm a sucker, and I try not to buy leather because, like, I really try not to buy leather. But goddamn, those leather bound books,
they're so pretty,
so beautiful.
I know. You just kind of hug them to your chest and go, "Oh, you're so pretty. I'll probably never write in you."
Give them a sniff. I have one with a beautiful triquetra symbol that one of my best friends gave me. And I'm like, I promise I'm going to write all the good ideas in here. And guess what? It's still pristine.
Oh, heck yeah. 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 That's where it sits in a drawer, actually, a couple feet away from me. It sits in this drawer. And every once in a while, I'll pull it out. Go, you are so pretty. And I put it back away.
We are very similar. They're similar. Wow. I don't know what I just
Or
said.
similar, whatever you want.
Similar.
Yeah. So what is next? What is next for you? I know you've got your second book coming in November of 2023, which is very shortly. That's exciting. You're working on your third. What's after that? Do you see anything coming after that's different from this series?
Oh yeah, I do. I've got I have a more of a magical realism, so like a bit more grounded in reality than this one's more urban fantasy. I do have an idea that I keep hearing the character. She's a very fun character, and it's kind of like a Gilmore Girls meets Downton Abbey kind of vibe. I don't know what it's a quirky, funny, easy. It would be a standalone. And I have nonfiction books that I have in mind. I would love to dive into nonfiction. So I will probably send you an email for some advice when that time comes around. But
well, hey, cool. Yeah. Don't know how much help I would be, but I've always got something to say about something. So.
Oh, I have a feeling you're very helpful because just your insight and your what springs to mind is brilliant. So very well thought out, your name of your brilliant thoughts notebook, because I do think what comes out of you is brilliant.
Oh, brilliant. But sometimes you have to say it with an English accent.
Brilliant.
So I'm just bloody brilliant.
Bloody brilliant.
So what is something that just completely inspires you that's outside of the characters that are in your head? What's something that inspires you? For me, it's being out in the woods walking my dog. I always find inspiration out in nature. So what inspires you the most?
Yeah, not to copy you. That is one of the things. I have a little dog. She's right here next to me, licking my pillow incessantly. She's a licker. And that is when you're not looking, when you're not staring at your screen. I think you stare at your screen when you sort of like you sit down and write when it's laid out more. Like for me anyway, the flow comes. But when it's like that in between state, it's when I'm outside walking her, thinking of nothing, that something comes to me. But also when I watch television, something will. So I'm a binger. Like I get into shows. And I get like, because I'm not thinking of writing or not thinking of my book, I'm watching something else, something that will happen. It could be the smallest thing that has nothing to do with the storyline. Often, oh, hey, and I'll actually pause and I'll just say, wait a minute. And that'll just, will just come to mind and I'll write it down. And also when I watch my YouTube video, I watch like my horoscope at night or something like on YouTube. And they're so inspiring and I need inspirational messages. I get very I have negative thought patterns like a lot that I have to deal with, and I need like nuggets of inspiration. I do. It's like it helps me just like look at things differently, and that helps a lot just hearing
I can see how it is. I've written a book called Nuggets of Hope.
Well, there you go. That's something I'm ordering immediately after this call.
It's not published yet. That's
Oh, come on. Hurry up.
One of the ones that's not published. Now, and it's so funny because you've used the word nuggets a couple times.
Oh, it's an important thing.
And I use nugget all the time, but I'm always saying nugget of hope. But so yeah, you never know. And you keep dropping those saying, you need nugget, you have nuggets of this and nuggets of that. Affirmation nuggets and everything like that. Hey, you know what, dear heart, you want to email me or call me? I will drop you a nugget of hope anytime you want one.
Oh,
seriously.
We need more of you.
It doesn't cost a dime to be kind.
That is really nice. Is that on a t-shirt yet?
No, but it probably should be.
That's very
either that or a coffee mug. I'm all about coffee. What about you?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I try with tea, but it's just not satisfying.
I tried tea, yeah. And I'm like, I'm just not a tea kind of gal.
No, I'll make some chai. Like I learned how to make it when I was in India, and I'm like, okay, I can make some chai, but it takes really long to make it well.
I tried chai tea just recently, and it made me gag. I physically gagged.
Oh, who made it for you?
It was from my sister. It was from Starbucks.
No.
And my sister had it, and she goes, "You've got to try this." And I'd never tried it, and I literally gagged, and I said, "Oh my gosh."
That's not what chai tastes like. Eliminate that from your memory.
Okay. Eliminate that from my memory. Oh, yeah, I'm not a tea person. I like coffee. I didn't.
You think it's a writer thing to love coffee or to need coffee?
Yeah, it's not that I love it. I need it. And I've become a bit of a coffee snob.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, well, you hear me already with the Starbucks. I'm not a fan. Honestly, not a fan. I know it's everywhere. I think their coffee, like their actual like filtered coffee, is horrendous. And I'm sorry, do they sponsor you or anything?
Oh gosh, no. It's just, and that's not something I regularly frequent, but every once in a while, probably 2 times a year.
Yeah. Well, when the peppermint mocha comes out, it's a different story. Then I white girl out there. I'm like, I'll have it half sweet, no whip. Thank you very much.
I actually like Tim Hortons coffee.
Well,
do you Tim Hortons?
It is Canadian.
I was going to say, wait a minute, it's Canadian. Yeah, of course you have it.
Born here, and yes, and okay. So I mean, I don't like it very much either. I shouldn't say that as a Canadian.
I like their ice caps.
Exactly.
That's what I don't go to those places to get the coffee, really. I get like the frou-frou stuff as a treat.
100%, I'm with you. Yeah, and I order the ice cap with milk rather than cream, just a little tip.
Oh, no, I do too.
Oh,
yes.
And the French vanilla, I do it half. I do half coffee, half French vanilla.
For the mocha, I do half.
The mocha, there you go. Yeah, so those are good.
Yes.
How that we've established which coffee.
What else? You've got a dog. What's the name of your dog?
Oh God. Okay. Her name is Nessie, after the Loch Ness Monster.
I was going to say Loch Ness Monster.
Do you know that it's embarrassing to say in Scotland? Because like we've been asked and they look at us like, oh, such tourists. Like they named their dog after like Nessie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, if ever I move there, I got to change her name.
Well, because wasn't that whole story actually debunked?
Mm-hmm. That famous photo has proven fake.
Yeah. Huh.
Yes, it has. But I mean, it doesn't mean anything. There's still hope.
There's actually a fun story.
Yeah, and there was a recent like whole thing on the news. I don't know if you caught that, of like just people hunting for Nessie. They all gathered at Loch Ness, and they're like, we're gonna look for Nessie. It was the funniest thing.
I'll be darned. No, I did not. I don't watch TV very often.
Oh well, yeah, no, that's good.
If I watch it, it's, sometimes if I find something on Netflix, or I watch YouTube.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
watch, little half-hour shows or whatever I find interesting. Whatever sparks my interest, I'll watch on YouTube. But I'm typically reading. I read a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's a good use of your time. I've because I love screenwriting. I've always wanted to be a screenwriter, and this book actually was first a script. It's a film script. No, not a film script. It was an TV script. It was like episode one, whatever, And I've always been into TV, so I'm a big TV person.
So, have you done anything for television?
No, I have not. I didn't go down that route really because like I found it very slow. So I should say I lost patience. I wanted my story out there. Like
You know what though? You could make your own, because look what everybody's doing now. You can make your own darn TV show on your own little network.
You can, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know
You
what
can
what'll
stream it
happen.
in. You could stream your own thing anywhere. Hey, I will write my little story. I'll turn it into a cartoon, and you can like help me with the script, and then we will turn it into a cartoon and get it streaming online. And hey,
I
be
like the
famous.
way I like the way you think. I like the way you're saying it. I love everything about this conversation.
Because I have so many wood sprites that's got stuff to say,
Oh,
and they would be awesome little cartoon characters,
especially for children's.
animated cartoon character. Because everything about it, they are teaching
About the
morals.
environment.
Yeah, morals, and there's always a moral to the story, and kindness and patience and forgiveness, all of
Oh,
that stuff. And it's the animals and the wood sprites that are teaching the queen of the realm, the human, how to be a better human.
I love it. I that is it's like it already exists in my head. Like it makes perfect sense.
I know.
It's there. It
I
just
tell
needs
this to some
manifest.
people and they're like, you are wackadoodle. I'm like, no, I'm
No,
not. I've got a whole world going on in there.
I'm sure they just told George Lucas he was a wackadoodle too.
That's right. And J.K. Rowling, and
Yeah.
who wrote the Lord of the Rings?
J.R.R. Tolkien.
There we go. There's another J name.
There's the George of the Martins there, the what's it called? The one that everyone loves.
I don't
Game of
know. I
Thrones.
can't. Dr. Seuss.
And Dr. Seuss. What a weirdo. Exactly.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Who wrote
Even
that?
weirder. Even weirder. Yeah.
So, but how awesome. How awesome.
Exactly. You need it. C.S. Lewis, Narnia. Like you
There we,
need.
yes. Yeah, I love those books.
Yeah, they're very offbeat, which is why I love them.
I fell right into them.
Oh,
Fell
okay.
right into those stories. Right into them.
Amazing.
And then the Harry Potter ones, my daughter was little.
Mhm.
So I bought them for her. And so then I was like, everybody's talking about it. What's so great about this
What's
Harry
the
Potter
big
stuff?
deal? Mhm.
So I started reading them. And so when she would finish one, she'd hand it off to me and I would read it. So I was always a book behind her in that whole
This was
series.
me and my mother. Oh my God. And I would get so mad when her bookmark would surpass my bookmark. I would physically like get angry and she would have to stop reading. Could you?
Now I waited until she had finished the
That's
book.
kind. Very
And then
nice.
it came to me. And I fell into those books too. And then when the movies came out, I was like, oh my goodness, her and I were just so excited. We could not wait for the next installment. And to wait for the next book was just, it was horrible to wait.
We grew up with, so how are you with series? Do you need the whole series to be out before you start reading, or are you okay with just like getting in there and okay, if it takes a year?
If I find something, especially in a book, I find a new author and I'll read it and I'll be like, oh wow, this is going to be a series. I'll get that first book and then highlight it or put, star it, whatever, bookmark it, however it is I do it in my Kindle. And
Yes.
then I'll set reminders, literally reminders in my phone telling me when the next book is due out.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, that's nice. Thank you for doing that for us newbies who are writing a series
that's
and
what
yeah.
I find most of the people that I love reading is through like Kindle Unlimited.
Yes.
Because a lot of them are new authors or newer, and it's just like their first book or something. And I've found some amazing authors, and I've got several reminders in my phone right now for November, December, and January already for authors. There's their new books that are coming out because it's either the second or the third book in the series.
It's people like you. Oh my God, so grateful for people like you. Yeah, so mine is on Kindle Unlimited as well, because I find that's where it's getting reads. Like, it's like, okay, the first one's free, I believe. I think so. I'm not good with the pricing, but I believe the first one is free right now on there.
Well, on Kindle Unlimited, they're all free.
Oh, they're all free. Then it might be
Well,
free.
no, technically, kind of. Yeah, you can read them for free, but you're paying, the monthly Kindle
Right.
fee. But
so bad with these things. I don't have a Kindle. Could you believe it? I'm still with the physical books. So
I have both. And I can say that I enjoy both. I enjoy my Kindle because I can have hundreds of books on it.
I know. I think I'm going to succumb to it. I think I have to get out of this, oh, I need paper thing. I think I need to.
Well, there's a lot of new authors are only publishing ebook.
Exactly. Yeah.
The digital form, so you can't get them in paperback. Like that Trisha O'Malley I mentioned earlier, all of her books, they're all digital.
Oh,
and she's got dozens of them.
Okay.
So that's the only way you can read her books. And I read every single one.
Okay. Well, then what's going on the Christmas list? Kindle.
All right. So is there anything else? I know we're just having our own personal little chat here on Let Fear Bow. So
just chatting
let's get back to the show, shall we? So is there anything else that you want to leave the listeners with? Like where they can find you, anything exciting that you're working on that maybe you're not even writing. Has nothing to do with writing. Anything you want to share with the listeners before we wrap this up?
Yes, I'm trying to be better on social media. So please follow me at KT_Anglehart on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook too, KT Anglehart, author. I do have a newsletter, so that's where I can get a bit more personal. So it's lots of fun. I connect much better with my readers there. So you can go to my website, ktanglehart.com. My newsletter is right at the top. You could just subscribe, and I don't flood your inbox. I can get pretty lazy with the newsletters as well. So it's either like hey, I've got all these wonderful details for you, including some magical nuggets of wisdom. Or it's like, oh, it's been 3 months. I'm so sorry. So
I'm the same way. I'm the same way with my newsletter. I really have to get better at that.
I'm very bad when I'm writing. So right now it's like literally it's being proofread. So I'm gonna get back into like my marketing game much better. But while I'm writing, I am terrible. I'm like a recluse.
Yeah. I understand that. So I ask all of my guests before we say goodbye, I ask all of my guests to leave the listeners with a little nugget of hope that they can tuck away in their pocket and carry with them. So what would your nugget of hope for the listeners be today?
Oh, well, in keeping with the name of your podcast, and I've learned this fairly recently. So fear, if you're fearing something, it's not an indication to stop what you're doing. It's just an indication that things are getting uncomfortable. But in order for us to kind of level up, things will be uncomfortable. So don't stop just because things are shifting and getting uncomfortable. Let that fear bounce, just surpass it. Because on the other side, there is actually that, oh, okay, that wasn't so bad. I got it. What's next? So I would say just keep that in mind.
Perfect. Perfect nugget of hope. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Love it. Thank you so much for being my guest, Katrina. This has been so fun. So fun. So early next year sometime within the first quarter, I want to have you come back on.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want to talk about this new book that's coming out, and I want to hear more about the book that you're currently working on and anything else that's happening in your realm. So make a mental note or pencil that in somewhere. Definitely want to have you again early next year. But this has been truly, truly a very pleasurable and fun conversation. So thanks so much for being my guest today.
So fun. Thank you for having me. And I'm sorry, but you're on my speed dial now. Bye.
I have no problem with that. No problem with that. All right, everybody out there listening, thanks so much for tuning in once again to another episode of Let Fear Bounce. This is your host, Kim Langling. Everybody be well, stay well, and be blessed. And that is a wrap, my fearless friends. Thanks for bouncing along with me on another episode of Let Fear Bounce. I hope you're feeling a bit motivated and ready to take on any challenge that might come your way in the coming days. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode of Let Fear Bounce. Tune in each week for your dose of inspiration from my amazing guests from all over the world. So until next time, keep bouncing forward and stay fearless, my friends. Everybody be well, stay well, and above all, be blessed.